All right, welcome back, everybody. This is Q for lesson 2 of Pensacola Museum of the Arts Poetry Workshop. This lesson, we are actually all about haiku. We're going to be learning about haiku, how to write a haiku, what the rules are about haiku, and at the end of it, you're going to be writing haikus. A haiku is 17 syllables, containing 5 syllables on the first line, 7 syllables on the second line, and 5 syllables on the third line. So you can have 3 syllables or more in one word. So for example, one, if you want to use the word one, that's just 1 syllable. Example is 3. That's 3 syllables. So that's an example. Using the word example as an example. So what I did there? Well, it started in Japan, from my understanding, and the original inspiration was about nature. So they would write haiku on nature. Of course, over the years, that has, been altered a little bit. But I think nature is whatever I think the interpreter wants nature to be, pretty much. So I guess the changes have been, people have determined what they consider natural, and so we write, what natural is now. I guess it's not just sun, moon, stars, is whatever you feel is natural, I guess. What makes haiku an interesting form of poetry to me is the range. You can go so far with it, you can do so much with it, but at the same time, it's the challenge. And as an artist, I love a challenge. And it's challenging because it's, you can want to say something right away. It's like, but you have to stop and count to make sure that you're within those 575 guidelines, and if you're not, then you're not writing haiku. You're writing a short poem, but it's not exactly haiku. And when I sit down to write a haiku, I want to write a haiku. So the challenge is making sure that you follow the parameters and not go outside of them. But at the same time, it's knowing that I can be so creative within those 17 syllables at the same time. So it's not the biggest fan of rules, but once I decide I'm going to follow them, I want to follow them to the T. And now I want to use as much as I can to get out what I want to say within those parameters. So I think that's what the draw is to me for it. Let's read it together. I have one of my haikus on my shirt. So, and I'm not looking at it, but this haiku says, "No, not on Facebook, but there's a book in my face. Can we still be friends?" I know when I read this out what people like to do, so let's go ahead and do it now. No, not on Facebook, 5, but there's a book in my face, 7. Can we still be friends, 575. That haiku came from a question. When I traveled the country performing poetry around the country, I always got, for people who probably weren't going to see me again, are you on Facebook? And I got tired of that question because I'm not a technology guy. I give you a phone number, you can call me, let's just keep in touch that way. So I got tired of that question because I want people to know that let's just be natural, just going back to nature. So no, that was just the answer to the question, and I decided, instead of just saying no, let me stretch it out, and I decided to write a haiku out of it. So no, not on Facebook, but there's a book in my face, can we still be friends? So I enjoy challenging myself to not just answer a question, but see if I can turn that answer into something bigger and better. And then I can market it as well and use it as a form of making money. And so I sell these t-shirts for people who are like me, who don't particularly care for technology so much. And another one, because I have a series of, it's called, it's my Technology series, Technology. And the second one was on that level would be, send me an email. No, why don't I just call you? I'd rather talk. Because that's another thing I was getting is people, email me. You got a phone number? Can we just talk? Because I can hear your voice inflection better. I can determine how you're feeling today. I can't determine that in a text message or an email. I'd rather talk to people. I'd rather get that one-on-one contact, that eye contact, that sitting across the table from each other and having a conversation. So basically, I was using those haikus as a form of us getting back to some type of normality. I get it. Technology is here. We have to use it, but let's not depend on it. Let's not just be slaves to it. Let's actually use it when we have to use it, but let's use those other natural things when we need to use those other natural things first, and use technology as the second thing. My poetry is inspired by things that I like and things that I don't like. So I figure if everything is inspiration for me, so if the things that I don't, I can say it better in the poem in the form of a haiku than just constantly repeating it to you over and over again. Like, no, I'm not on Facebook. No, I'm not on Facebook. No, I don't have a Facebook page. So now let me be creative with that. Take that no response and stretch it and make it into something. I guess I'm just creative like that. I just try to take everything in my power. I try to use all my tools and try to do something with it to where I can teach somebody something. So I'm also trying to inspire others by doing that. I'm like, wow, he was able to take that into a haiku. Let me see if I can turn some of my dissatisfactions or things that I don't like into something. So I'm trying to be an example at the same time. So I'm inspired by Black History Month. Black History Month inspires me. I'm a big fan of Carter G. Woodson, who gave us Black History Week first in 1926 and expanded to Black History Month 50 years later. He never got a chance to see it go to a full month. But I knew what he was trying to do. He was trying to give us something to look forward to. We're less than 50 years or around 50 years removed from slavery in 1926. So he gave us Black History Week. And he did it in the second week to honor Frederick Douglass as well as Abraham Lincoln's birthday. So I was inspired by what he did for us, so I wanted to spotlight that whole thing. Black History Month celebrates the lives of those who gave us so much. And I'm eventually going to put that on the t-shirt and run those around for Black History Month because I want us to know what Black History Month is about. It celebrates the lives of those who gave us so much. And that's all of them who gave us what they had so we can enjoy what we're enjoying today. So I kind of breathe haiku. When I think about something, I just try to condense it to make sure that it fits. And once it fits and it sounds right and makes sense, I run with it. So I won't say that they're easy, but they are challenging. But I think once you figure out the parameters on how they're supposed to be written, I think people can find themselves writing haikus as frequently as a haiku a day. That's a challenge, a haiku a day. Can we write haiku together? How you feel about that? Let's do it. All right. I usually write them in my head, but let me try on the paper. Let me try. Okay, so let me just think. Put my thinking cap on, take off my real cap, and put my thinking cap on. Okay. Right now, I'm going to write it on what I just touched. I just touched my head, right? So I'm going to write about my head. All right. But it won't be just about my head. So let me see what I can come up with. Still have to count myself sometimes. Okay, all right. How did I approach that haiku? I thought about my head, since I said that was what I want to write about, my head. And it's obvious the physical part of it, but what does my head contain? My head contains a brain. So I use those two things and I form the haiku. So I'll let you hear it and then I can explain the whole thing. My bald head glistens. but my brain is my weapon. Listen as I shoot. So, of course, when you see my head and me using shea butter, it's going to glisten, especially in the sun. So that's the physical side of it. But what's inside my brain, what's inside my head is the thing that I want you to focus on. My brain, that's my weapon. When we think of weapons, we think of guns. So the last line, listen as I shoot. As I talk, I'm using the power of my brain to express myself verbally. So I use my brain as my weapon. And as I say things, I'm shooting words. I'm shooting. So the words are my bullets. It's just as simple as that. So to me, that's how simple of a haiku that you can write. The audience might be thinking, oh, it's kind of cheesy. That's okay. You can do that with haiku. You can make it as cheesy as you want. You're telling your story. So this is me telling my story in a haiku. Here's a haiku inspired by my god brother in Memphis, Mr. Charles White. I'm going to read the haiku, then I'll explain why I like it so much. Shots bangle the sky as ghetto astronomers seek to become stars. So to me, it's a play on the Star Spangled Banner. But shots banging the sky is what we hear in our communities. Shots in the air. And as they're doing it, whether it be them fighting for turf, or fighting for protection, or fighting just to become the ruler of that particular community. They're ghetto astronomers, seeking to become stars, using that form of shooting to become the next great whatever it is that they're trying to become, whether it's vigilante to, clean up the crime in the community, whether it's the guy who's causing the crime in the community, trying to be the scariest person in the community. But they're seeking to become stars. Either way, they're seeking. So that's what I drew from it. Now, I'm not saying that this is what he intended when he wrote it, but something my mom told me that once you release it, it belongs to the world now. So once he released it, I can interpret it because it's up to art is up to the interpreter. And I know you, as a great artist, you have one vision, but as people see it, they might see something totally different. You know what I mean? So that's the same goes for poets as well. We have a vision when we wrote it, but somebody else can say, and then I can say, well, no, that's not what it is. I can say that's not what I meant, but I can see how you drew that from it, if that makes sense. So that's why I gravitate to that one. So I can assign a homework assignment for our viewing audience. I think you all should write 5 haiku. Remember, 5-7-5. That's 5 syllables on the first line, 7 syllables on the second line, and 5 syllables on the third line. Again, if you need another example, the word one has 1 syllable. The word example has 3 syllables. You're focusing on syllables, not words, but syllables. 5-7-5. So give us 5 haiku. Before you start the next lesson, you should have them ready. So you have all the time to create, and just challenge yourself and just write on whatever you want to write about. You can start off about your day, how you woke up in the morning, your last shower, what you ate for breakfast that day. Just 5 haiku. I hope you all enjoyed lesson number 2. We're going to go right into lesson number 3, so we'll be right back, and thank you all for watching and listening.